if you've watched my channel for any length of time, you will know that I make these videos on self-confidence and beauty standards because I myself have suffered horrendously with my own self-perception and insecurities surrounding my looks. All throughout my childhood and teenagehood, I have struggled with feelings of inadequacy, not about my body, but about my face. Facial confidence is not talked about enough. Everybody talks about body confidence, but it's like, what about the people who feel like they're butt ugly?
I don't want to look ugly.
Growing up, I genuinely thought I was one of the ugliest girls to have ever disgraced the earth. I can't remember anyone ever telling me that I was pretty growing up, or maybe my grandma, but she was just trying to be nice to me. I've come a long way since then. I've had a lot of therapy, but still sometimes I look in the mirror or I open my phone and my front camera is on and I'm like, holy shit. And it doesn't necessarily help the fact that I'm a human who puts myself on the internet and I open up my comment section on YouTube and people are agreeing with what I'm already thinking in my head and they're telling me that I am extremely ugly. And the thing is, the people leaving these comments are absolutely right. I would probably look a lot prettier with a smaller, straighter nose. I probably would be more attractive if my eyes weren't so droopy, if I got Botox and didn't have lines when I smiled. But the thing is, I'm 35 now, you guys. I have discovered that I quite like being borderline ugly. If you're watching this and thinking, Steph, what the are you on about? Are you trying to get yourself cancelled? You can't just go around calling yourself and other people borderline ugly. That is so offensive. We're all beautiful. Well, yes and no. I first heard the term borderline ugly when I was researching for another video last year. It was actually Elle Macpherson, an Australian supermodel, if you don't know who she is, from the 90s, who said it, and I was like, ding, ding, ding. She just hit the nail on the head. That is exactly how I feel about myself.
The first year we worked together, Elle was very, very shy. If I asked her to change something, she would literally get tears in her eyes because she so much wanted to please.
It's because I'm on the borderline of being ugly and being okay. No, it's true. People that are like that, so that they have a lot of range. You know, sometimes they're very, I don't know. You'll say that the people that you're not quite sure about are the ones that have the most versatility, rather than the ones that are obviously the most beautiful when you see them.
And Elle is 100% correct. Have you noticed that models, and I don't mean Instagram influencer models, I mean actual high fashion models, could all be considered borderline ugly? Look at Kate Moss, arguably one of the world's most famous and successful models of all time. She certainly wouldn't fit the beauty standard of today. She doesn't look like Alexis Ren or Kim Kardashian. She was kind of weird looking, impish, elf-like. And because of that, she was cool to look at. She's like an artwork in human form. Hence how she ended up being one of the world's top models. Sydney Sweeney, she is another one that could be considered borderline ugly. When Sydney was cast as Cassie Howard in the hit TV show Euphoria, people went wild. Here was a woman who wasn't the typical Instagram version of beautiful. She could look like the girl next door. Very normal. Strange even with her big doe-like eyes. In fact, Sydney was bombarded with people telling her that she was ugly. She was actually trending on Twitter at one point for being ugly. People were saying that she looked like a Muppet.
Yeah, so...
Apparently, I am trending on Twitter right now for being ugly. I think it's really important for people to see how words actually affect people. I'm a f***ing person. I'm just sitting here with my dog Tank watching HGTV wearing my Snuggie, like, I don't know. People gotta be nicer on social media.
And the thing is, Sydney may not look like every other Instagram model out there. She is absolutely unique looking, but she can also look like an absolute bombshell when she wants to. And that is the beauty, and I say this from experience, of being borderline ugly. It's fun. It keeps people guessing. What's she gonna look like today? Gisele Bündchen, another one of the world's most successful and famous supermodels, definitely does not look like your typical pretty girl. Her nose is too big. Her jaw is too masculine. Her lips are too thin. Heck, even Gisele herself knows and admits that she did not achieve worldwide fame and fortune as a model because she was pretty. She was bullied for being tall and skinny, for having red skin. She was told that her eyes were too small and her nose too big, that she was too ugly to ever be on the cover of a magazine. And yet that looks suspiciously like Gisele Bündchen on the cover of all these magazines. Being borderline ugly is what made Giselle stand out. Being pretty is one thing, it's great, but being unique, that is unforgettable. Then there's Lily Cole, model turned actress turned entrepreneur. It's pretty clear that Lily does not fit the conventional beauty standard, does she? I mean, she's no Bella Hadid or Kendall Jenner. Her eyes are far too far apart for starters. Her mouth is too small, her face too big, her cheeks too full. Therefore, she is ugly, and she would benefit from plastic surgery and tweakments and injectables, lip filler and buccal fat removal, except wait, no she wouldn't. She would lose that gorgeous uniqueness that makes Lily Cole Lily Cole. It is precisely because she does not fit today's beauty standard that Lily is so striking. Perform plastic surgery on Lily to make her look like every other influencer model out there and she would lose that je ne sais quoi, the very thing that makes her magic. Repeat after me, friends. Individuality is cool. Unique features are hot. Altering yourself to be a carbon copy of everyone else is not. Lily reminds me of Dove Cameron before she changed herself to fit the beauty standard. Naturally, Dove had the big eyes, the small nose, the full cheeks, and the small mouth, very similar to Lily. And yet, instead of embracing her natural features, Dove went on to change most things about her appearance. Her lips have been enlarged, her nose reduced. Even her cheekbones haven't escaped the wrath of the beauty standard because it looks very much to me like Dove's buccal fat is lying in a pile of incinerated human tissue somewhere instead of being inside her cheeks where it belongs. What would Dove have looked like now had she embraced her natural facial features? We'll never know. Then there's Bella Hadid. Interestingly enough, although Bella is officially considered the world's most beautiful woman, according to the very scientific golden ratio measurement in which she scored an impressive 94% perfection, and the fact that Bella is a very successful top model, it seems that beauty is indeed subjective. In that I came across these articles on Reddit where people have shared that they simply do not find Bella to be even remotely attractive. But isn't that the very thing that makes us as human beings interesting to look at? The fact that some people would look at Bella and be like, oh my god, she is the most beautiful woman to have ever graced this earth, and then somebody else looks at Bella, the exact same face, and they're like, she doesn't do it for me. Even Bella's sister Gigi, who is generally considered to fit the beauty standards to perfection, but Gigi could also be considered borderline ugly. Gigi isn't a carbon copy of everybody else. She actually has very unique features that don't necessarily fit today's mold.
But I do think that, I have put in the work and the years to understand how to take on creative direction and be nice and work hard. That's the part that's kept me around more than being the prettiest person in the room.
Her eyes aren't cat-like. Like mine, they droop downwards at the sides. She doesn't have high cut glass cheekbones and she hasn't removed her buccal fat like other girls who are desperately trying to change themselves to be pretty. Nope, Gigi has full cheeks and a full face. She has nasolabial folds, which most girls, Kylie Jenner, I'm looking at you, Photoshop out for some weird reason. And yet the thing is, Gigi is still absolutely stunning. She is gorgeous to look at. And it is the very fact that she could be considered borderline ugly that makes her interesting to look at. Do you get what I'm saying here, guys? That is the best thing about it. Being borderline ugly in today's standards means that you have something about you. There is a reason why most successful models and actresses could be considered borderline ugly. Look at Helen Mirren, arguably one of the most successful actresses of all time. She is stunning, but she wouldn't be considered a real beauty of our time, would she? I dare say people might even say she was ugly. Barbara Streisand, again, absolutely gorgeous. Wouldn't be considered beautiful today. Helen Bonham Carter, it is the very fact that she could be considered borderline ugly that makes her so damn pretty. Nicole Kidman, same thing, borderline ugly. Wouldn't fit our vision of beauty today. Look at Cher. Need I say more, or are you guys getting my point? Being borderline ugly is the goal. Being borderline ugly in an age where to live up to what is considered beauty is impossible without changing yourself. Where being pretty means erasing everything about yourself that makes you unique. And the thing is, and I say this also from experience, when you are borderline ugly, you're not simply relying on your good looks to get you through life. It means that you actually get a chance to let your personality develop and shine through. It's a strange thing when everyone starts altering their looks to adhere to what is currently considered beautiful. When anyone with the money gets a nose job to transform their natural nose to fit the stereotypical pretty nose with its tiny upturned button tip, short thin bridge and small nostrils. When you get so much Botox and filler that your once unique to you bone structure starts to look as though you were copy and pasted from every other influencer model on Instagram. When you start altering your original irreplaceable face with what someone else is telling you is pretty, you start to lose everything that makes you cool to look at. Everyone starts morphing into the same person. Look at the Kylie Jenner clones. This is Kylie Jenner. These girls are not. And these girls originally looked nothing like Kylie Jenner, but they've all slowly morphed their way into looking like Kylie because they were told that Kylie is like the epitome of beautiful. They could easily hop on a plane with Kylie's passport and they would get through. The Geordie Shore girls who originally looked nothing like each other at all, who now all somehow have slightly different versions of their same face. Tell me it's not just me that thinks it's starting to get really bloody boring to look around and everyone is trying to look like everyone else. Give me a unique nose any day. I know I contour mine, but I can wash that off at the end of the day. I don't have to wear this contour tomorrow. Give me your original bone structure, your natural lip shape, your uniqueness. This is why the girls that could be considered borderline ugly in today's day and age are doing so bloody well for themselves. I'll admit, they may not technically fit into today's mold of what is considered beautiful. They may not have what we think of as the perfect little nose or the perfect pouty lips or the high cut glass cheekbones or the cat-like eyes, but it is their unique imperfections that make them so interesting to look at and what sets them apart from others and is precisely what makes them beautiful. I'll tell you what makes me sad. I get messages on a daily basis, comments here on YouTube and DMs on Instagram from girls and boys telling me, I wish I looked like so-and-so. I wish I had the money for a nose job. I wish I was prettier. I wish I wasn't so ugly. And me, being nosy, I go onto their Instagram, for example, and I'm flicking through their photos and I'm like, you are so bloody beautiful. I just wish they could see what I see. Admittedly, a lot of them don't actually live up to today's beauty standards. But let's be very real here. None of us do. Even the girls who we all think fit the beauty standards to perfection didn't naturally fit those beauty standards. They had to surgically alter and tweak their faces and their bodies to fit the beauty standards. These beauty standards can't be met by nature. Nose too big, lips too small, jawline too wide. Got the money and the time? You can absolutely alter your entire face and body to fit the beauty standards, but how fucking boring is that? And how sad will these women feel when they have spent all this time and money and pain, because plastic surgery, I imagine, is pretty painful, altering themselves to fit the beauty standard, and then the beauty standard changes, because it always does, and suddenly, looking unique, being borderline ugly, embracing your individuality is hot and cool and in fashion, and everybody wants to look like their own unique version of themselves, but these girls have altered themselves to look like everybody else, and they can never get that back. Once you have erased your unique facial features, you can't just click undo. And this is why, my friends, I am not personally an advocate for plastic surgery, unless obviously in the cases of like severe injury or for health reasons. If you surgically alter your bone structure, if you change your mind, you can't get that back. And this is exactly what Bella Hadid experienced when she had a nose job at the age of 14, and now in her 20s regrets it and wishes she kept the nose of her ancestors. What does that tell ya? I think Bella is realizing that being borderline ugly, by today's beauty standards, is actually a good thing. Lady Gaga, she's another one who could be considered to be borderline ugly. Even Lady Gaga herself has said that throughout her life she has struggled, like I have, with feelings of inadequacy surrounding her looks. She has felt ugly. But because of that, she has not coasted through life on her good looks, but she has developed her talent. She developed her personality. She was able to relate to her fans. And yet it is her unique features that make her so beautiful. Being borderline ugly is actually a very, very positive thing. You guys, I'm not immune to this. I know I like to preach, but I don't always practice what I preach, although I do try to. So I'm interested to know, you guys, have you ever felt the way I do? Have you ever felt borderline ugly? What is your opinion on people altering themselves to look like other people? I'm curious. I want to know. Tell me in the comments below. I love your guts, you guys, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!